industry is on high alert as the first case of African Swine Fever is detected in the Western Hemisphere. In tonight's Montana Ag Report, Russell Nemitz shares more on what producers and consumers need to know. Well, as part of its continuing efforts to respond to the recent discovery of African swine fever in the Dominican Republic and also prevent its introduction into the mainland United States along with Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is now preparing to establish a foreign animal disease protection zone. USDA's Chief Veterinary Officer Rosemary Sifford explains more about this additional action to further safeguard our U.S. swine herd and protect the interests along with the livelihoods of U.S. pork producers.
We're going to use these additional mitigations that we are putting in place to develop a protection zone. In addition to the surveillance and the education and outreach, we are also looking at opportunities to further restrict the pork products that might move in interstate commerce from Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands to the mainland. Normally, those items have not been restricted. We are going to add some restrictions there, and that will allow us to provide the OIE all the information that they would need for us to put in place a protection zone for the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico.
Now, the USDA has also been actively working with officials in the Dominican Republic to help assist in their response to this first outbreak of ASF here in the Western Hemisphere in about 40 years. And by the way, the National Pork Producer Council is reminding consumers that African swine fever isn't transmissible to humans either by contact or by eating the meat from the infected hog.
That is a big fucking lie. Big lie. Now, the first time this African swine fever broke out in China, it was the same time, around the same time that they said, that this Wuhan, whatever, that's the same time that this whole shit broke down. They started to notice that in China that these pigs had this African swine fever, they were getting infected, and they were getting really, really sick. They've known this all along. This virus, it's not what you think it is. This is what the COVID-19 is. It's African swine fever, and I'm going to show you right now. Here's the short I made on my other channel. See, if you notice, these pigs, they all were turning purple with the same kind of rashes that humans were getting. Remember, people were getting COVID toes and the shit was turning purple? This same stuff was happening to humans. Look at this. All these symptoms are the same symptoms of COVID. All those symptoms are the same. Okay, you've been lied to. You've been lied to. This whole time you've been lied to. This is African swine fever, okay? It's African swine fever. That's all it is. Now look at that pig's toes. See how that pig's got those COVID toes too? See how that pig's toes turning purple? See how these pigs are turning purple? See that? Same rashes. Same rashes and the same virus. It's the same, because you know what? Remember years ago we had that H1N1 outbreak in America and it was so bad. Okay? This is end times, guys. This is end times and you guys need to be really careful and use judgment. Okay? This pork is infected and they're still selling this infected pork. Okay? Because what happened was, when this first broke out, I always kept track of this news. I kept track of this news of what was really going on. And you know what? Let me tell you something. This article I saw, it had said that the Philippines, they had gotten some pork dumplings at the border, and these pork dumplings were from China. They tested these pork dumplings, and they came out to have African swine fever, and the Philippines ended up tossing it. So the truth is that these people know, they deep down know that this is the same exact virus. They know it. They know that this is the same exact virus, but they will not say anything. They won't. They want to keep this hidden. They keep it secret. The truth is that when you eat pork, there's a chance that you're getting pork that's infected with this African swine fever. You don't know what you're getting. You have no idea. You have no idea what you're getting. Okay? When you buy pork. Because some of this pork, as I was saying, this pork for a lot of the times, a lot of this pork is actually imported. If you look at the grocery store and you look at this meat, be careful, because some of that meat is imported, like from other, like beef too. Be careful with beef also. Like beef is the best, of course. Beef is careful, but just get like American source beef, because like the pork, the pork had been coming from like China and other countries, because the pork, that's where the biggest producer of pork is, from China. So that's why they're saying like, oh, like this, they're like really blaming China and all that, because that's where most of the pork. But this outbreak had happened also, it's happening in Russia. It's happening all around this region. All these pigs are getting sick pretty much everywhere around the world. These pigs are getting sick. And they're getting sick for a reason, because it's end times, and God is trying to tell people to not eat unclean foods. Like if you eat this and you eat shellfish, like reptile, like all that stuff is all unclean. And yeah, pretty much. Do you remember that man? Now look at this right now. See how that pig turned black? I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this when the virus first came out, there was one man. He was a doctor, and he was in China. He got the virus. His whole body turned black. This is what happened to this guy. His skin turned black. And if you notice, if you look at these pigs that have the African swine fever, the same exact thing happens to these pigs that have African swine fever. The pig turned black. See, this pig turned black just the same way that doctor did. Now, when I tell people to be careful eating pork, I'm just saying don't eat it at all. Don't eat any of these unclean foods. Don't eat these unclean foods, because right now this is what is sickening people, and it's being passed from pork eater to pork eater. This is it's not a game, and it's not a joke. And you know, it's sad, because the thing is that they really have worked to silence me. They don't want people knowing that this is really African swine fever. So they really worked to silence me, because they don't want this information known. Okay? My dad got vaccinated. My dad was vaccinated, right? He just had a pork roast. He was telling me, I'm cooking a pork roast tonight. I got a headache instantly. I knew right then and there that my dad was going to get COVID-19. But it's really not COVID-19. It's ASF. It's African Swine Fever. I knew that my dad was going to get sick once he ate this pork roast. Once he told me he was eating this pork roast, I knew that this pork roast was infected with African Swine Fever, and I knew he was going to get sick. And guess what? He ended up in the ER a few days later, and he was vaccinated as well. This vaccine's not going to fight this virus, because it's not what you think it is. This vaccine is something else. It's something that's completely different, and they're using it for it's not even related to this. It's not. They're doing something else with that vaccine. That vaccine isn't able to fight this, as well as they're not able to fight this on the farms either. That's why they're still selling this infected pork, because they have to make profit. That's why they're still selling the infected pork, because they'll lose so much money. If pork is recalled all around the world, they're going to lose so much money. The pork industry is going to lose all their money. So they figure, you know what? We still have to sell some tainted pork. Okay? And that's what happened. And that's most likely what happened in Wuhan, China. That market sold some African swine fever infected pork, and that was the start of everything. All right? So think very, very carefully before you eat pork, and especially if that pork is undercooked, oh boy, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So be careful and think before you eat pork, reptile, rabbit, all these unclean foods, like all this stuff. Just be careful and think very carefully. I avoid all pork. It's not. I know that if I eat pork, I know I'll get COVID. I know I'll get this virus. That's why I don't eat it, and that's why I have not got this virus. I've never gotten COVID-19. I've never got this because I know what it's coming from. So that's why I haven't gotten sick, because I know it's coming from pork. Alright, so I just want to go ahead and share this video and give you guys this information and enlightenment. I hope you guys all have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.